Hello, BookTube. I'm Peg, and I love book prizes and knitting and crochet. And actually, I'm going to talk about the crochet knitting part a little bit first today because I just found a thing in the Washington Post newspaper about our Vice President Kamala Harris that she crochets. And at first I thought it was a terrible mistake because people always get crochet and knitting mixed up. And I know her stepdaughter knits and does beautiful work. She's in fashion school for knitwear. And a couple months ago, it showed Kamala, after the election, of course, went down to my favorite knitting store in Alexandria, Virginia, just out of D.C. And they had it on their Facebook. She came in to buy some yarn. That's what all knitters and crocheters both use a lot of for her stepdaughter. And that was really exciting. But there is a difference between knitting, which you use 2 needles. These are really big ones. And your thing is on there, and crochet, which you use a hook. And I want to make sure all my viewers know the difference. This is a crochet that I have on today in Kamala's honor, and it usually has a lot more holes in it. Now, the story she gives is that when she was growing up and wanted to watch television, her mother, who was an immigrant from India, I believe, told her she couldn't just sit there and watch television. She had to do something with her hands. So she taught her how to crochet. And that's, it can be very fashionable, or it can be your old grandmother's Afghans, which everybody loves. And she said she crocheted many Afghans. So that's a great, I'm just so happy to hear that. So crochet and knitting are in style, but you all know the difference, right? Okay, let's get to my talk here today. I'm mainly going to be talking about the LA Times Prize, which will be awarded tomorrow night, Friday the, what is this, the 15th? 16th. And it's going to be, I think I need to put that up a little bit. I've forgotten how to make videos. It's been so long. Plus I have another problem, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Okay. The LA Times Book Prize is going to be awarded tomorrow night, and you will be able to see it live. I'm giving you a link to their website, and right at the top is how you can see it. It's going to be Friday night, tomorrow night at, well, it's 9 o'clock, 8 to 9 on the Eastern Coast. I believe it's 5 to 6 in California. And I can't wait because I've been into this. When you link on that, you'll notice that what I'm going to be talking about, the fiction books, is way down like 4th, but I assume you like to read book lists just like I do. And so I put the whole thing in, but I'm going to be talking about the fiction. There's also first debut fiction near the top, which is really interesting, and I know you've heard of some of those. But anyway, first of all, where did I put all my things? Okay, I wanted to talk about another prize that's not for fiction. It's for actually an actual author for their life's work. And this is called the Robert Kirch Prize, who was a longtime book reviewer, critic for the LA Times, and the editor of the book section. And so I guess they have this every year. And the winner is a person, author I've heard about many times, but I really didn't know much about her. Her name is Leslie Marmon Silko. Here's a picture of her. She's part American Indian, part Mexican, and part European. And she's almost as old as me. Anyway, she grew up on a Laguna Pueblo reservation in our Southwest, went to college, went on to be a lawyer, but decided she wanted to write instead. And her first work was a book of poetry. Here it is, a book of poetry that she won many prizes for. I believe the Pushcart Prize is a poetry prize, and just started out her career. Since then, she's written mostly novels, But this one was called Laguna Woman, and it's about, she says that her main thing in writing is attempt to explain what it is to be a half-breed or a mixed blood person. I think that's so interesting, especially these days. Um, so this one is about poems about Laguna women, and the novel that she's best known for. Do I have? I think I put a picture of it on here. Come on. It's called Ceremony. Yes, I didn't put it out. Anyway, it was written fairly early in the 60s, and I've been trying to get it. It seems to be out of print, but I would really like to read that, and it won a lot of prizes. Okay, so she was the Robert Kirch winner. You'll see her right away when you open the link. And I want to go through some of the books from the fiction that I've read, and I think might have a chance, or at least I want to talk about them. Okay, the first one I'm talking about, now here's where my problem comes up. I'm getting things reversed, and I've seen people do that before, and mine never did it before, but if you know how to make my iPad unreverse this, I assume that's reversed to you. Anyway, the name of the book is At Night All Blood is Black by David Dio. This book is also on the International Booker long list, which I think the short list is going to be announced pretty soon, and there's much discussion on it. It's actually a translation from French. It was chosen, the Goncourt Prize is their like Booker best of the year book, but they also have a students Goncourt Prize where the students, I guess, literature students, vote for their favorite, and this was the students prize that won this. I have to say, one word for it is it's very visceral. Takes place in World War I, out on the battlefields. The narrator is a young man. He's there with his best friend, and his best friend gets really wounded very badly, and he begs the narrator, our narrator, to kill him, to just go ahead and kill him, and the narrator just can't do it. So he drags him, picks him up, tries to take him back to the trenches where he was. It's very gory and horrible. And then he kind of goes mad. The friend does die, of course, probably before he gets to the trenches. And he even goes out at night and goes and gets Germans and cuts their hands off and brings it back. And it's just a story of kind of madness. But people that like war stories really, really think this is a good one. I have to say that I have to warn you, there's an analogy made, or metaphor, of where he compares the trenches as he's getting back the long trenches to a woman's anatomy that bothered some readers. But I don't know, a lot of people think it goes along with the visceral feel of the whole book. So I'll warn you about that. Okay, this, as I said, is kind of be on several lists. Okay, next we have What Happens at Night by Peter Cameron. He has written quite a few books. Actually, I'd never heard of him before, but this is a fantastic book. This is a story that doesn't show very well. Well, it's not a very great cover. It's a face of a man and a woman kind of smeared. Anyway, it's done, I feel like it's kind of historical. It's about a man and a woman who are going across Eastern Europe in an old train, going to a village where they're going to adopt a child. It's an orphanage, big orphanage there. And the woman is sick. She has cancer. And the whole thing has a surreal kind of Kafka type feeling. As they're traveling on the train, it seems like they're never going to get there. And everything they do just doesn't turn out right. And when they finally get to the place, the station, they have no idea where they're going. It's dark. Nobody's there to meet them. It's just one of those great atmosphere. I just love the way he sets up the atmosphere on this. And it goes along with how the stories. They stay in this hotel that was called something like the Grand Imperial Hotel, and it's just run down as can be. So that has its own feeling, you might say. I really like this one. I would be happy for this one to win. Okay, and another one I wanted to tell you about is the Office of Historical Corrections. See, it's backwards again. I don't know, I've pushed every button I can find, but if you know how, let me know. Okay, I hate to show it like I don't know that it's backwards. Okay, this is by Danielle Evans, and it's very interesting too. It's actually also up for some other awards. It's a book of short stories and one novella, and the novella was so good. The title is the same as the title of novella. I wish they had made that into a book because it was really good. It's about the story of a black woman professor who lives in Washington, D.C. and works as a history professor at one of the universities there, and it talks about university life and not what you want to be when you become a professor. So she quits that job and gets a job, which I'm sure it's not an actual thing, but for the Office of Historical Corrections, where her job is to go around town in D.C. and fix signs and things that have historical mistakes in them, which we understand there's a lot of. And she gets sent on a trip out of town for this problem that they have at a small town where they think a black man was killed by the white people in his town, but they're not sure, and they have pictures. And so she goes to it's actually kind of a historical mystery. She goes to this other town, and it talks more about her life too. But I really thought it was very good in presenting race problems and her feelings about race. And there's some romance in it, and it's just a really good book. I would like to see this on there too. Okay, last but certainly not least, I really hate putting this up because it's going to be backwards too, but it's called The Death of Vivek Ogee. And this is up for all kind of prizes. It's by Ogee Emeze, which you have to read backwards. And I have to be very careful because this author uses the pronoun they and them. And this is my first one for that, so I have to be careful to use that. But this is the story of two Nigerian young men, cousins, that grow up, and things that happen to them. One is the name of the thing, the Vivek Ogee, is very questionable whether he's sick or mentally ill or whatever. He turns very strange, and some very strange things happen. Now, I haven't finished it. I want to take it. It's just got so much in it. I want to take it very slowly, and we do know he dies. It's like it shows him growing up, and then it fast forwards to far ahead where one night his body is brought home and laid on the porch. So you do know he dies, but this, I guess, goes into the whys of it, and it's told somewhat from his cousin's viewpoint, too. Has a lot of bisexuality themes, racial themes. It's just really good. This author also wrote Freshwater, which I know a lot of you read and got a lot of prizes. So as I said, I haven't quite finished it. I will by tomorrow night when they announce the prizes. Hope some of you are watching along with me. I'm looking forward to this. So, okay, talk to you later. Bye.